Hey folks, Mobile Geezer here, and once again I'm with Jerome Ortega. Wait a minute, my phone's going off with my own stuff. Okay. So Jerome is kind enough to join me again this week, and
How's it going?
this week it's just Jerome and I. Mike and Will are only in for the first 3 weeks of every month. So this week you get myself and Jerome, so you got me, the okay one, and Jerome, the really, really good one. That's a very good thing.
No, that's not how it should be. But thank you. That's very nice of you.
How we do things. As you can probably tell, I am not at home this week. I'm traveling, so no nice background because my green screen is not with me as yet. And so Jerome and I are going to do the best I can. Normally, I have two screens to work with, so it's pretty easy for me to go back and forth. This week, I do not. I'm broadcasting for the first time from my MacBook Air, which seems to be working okay. And I'm going to follow my stories on my brand new iPad. And Jerome is going to share the screen, and he will follow along as we read each story.
There you go.
So I've come up with 5 stories that seem pretty interesting to me this week. So 2 of them had to do with 2010 to 2019, the decade. So we're going to go over some of that, and we'll see how everything goes. So there's the first story. It's from Reuters, and it's called Decade in Review, What the Smartphone Has Wrought. So I'm just going to read on that one. When the first Apple iPhone hit the market in 2007, not everyone was convinced that it would supplant the flip phone. When Google's Android software system arrived a year later, the BlackBerry still seemed to have a bright future. But with the iPhone 4 in 2010, featuring a high-resolution display, sleek design, and front-facing camera, our collective fate was sealed. Here are 10 ways the smartphone has made the smartphone shipment starting in 2000 and up and up. And you can see, starting in 2016, the jump wasn't so big anymore. And the last 2 years, 2018 and this year, it's come down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Right, Jerome? And that's what everybody has been talking about the last 2 years, how smartphones have peaked.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly what it looks like there. And actually, that's the first time I've seen the graph that way. I haven't really seen. Yeah, it's crazy how it jumped. I mean, there's only so many people who are going to buy phones, and then it's going to have to eventually.
Exactly.
Right.
And in one of our stories later, you're going to see the amount of smartphones, especially in the developing world, is incredible at this point. So I'm going to continue on. Access everywhere. Today, some 5 billion smartphones are in use around the world, according to Canalys Research. The total number of internet subscriptions has soared to 7.2 billion globally from 1.3 billion in 2010. The vast majority of them mobile subscriptions. International Telecommunications Union data shows. The explosion in connectivity has been especially dramatic in the developing world, where there are now more mobile connections than people. That's pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the other graphic out of 2010, it was growing, and then it was huge jumps in 2016, 17, 18, and still a big jump in Asia, especially in Asia and the Pacific. In this
That's
year.
Crazy. Yeah, wow.
Is. So with that rate, considering that you're dealing with China and India, I think you're going to see that jump continue to go up next year.
Mm-hmm.
For that area. As you can see, the Americans, it's kind of getting pretty flat. And in Europe, Africa, I'm thinking that though in Africa Africa, it's bound to start going up. Wouldn't you think, Jerome?
I think so. I mean, it's really just a matter of time. It's, the funny thing when I see the Asia and Pacific, it reminds me of it reminds me of YouTube. It reminds me of especially India, because India, I think it was only in the last year or 2 years, they started to get like cheap internet, like internet that was affordable. And because of that,
Right.
that's why like that one channel on YouTube, T Series, went crazy. That's why it's like the number one channel right now, because there's just so many people in India, and I mean, they're gonna watch that kind of. I mean, it's content catered to them. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. All right, I'm going to continue on. So, Apple Incorporated, once a niche computer company, is now one of the world's most valuable companies thanks to the iPhone. The 5 largest, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, currently boast a market cap of $4.7 trillion compared with about $800 billion for the top 5 in 2010. That's an incredible number.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Not all of that is due to the smartphone, of course, but the mobile-related technologies and services.
Oh, I don't know if George disconnected. If you guys can still hear me or see me, could you let me know? Because I think George was actually having trouble with his connection. I don't know if that's cutting me out. Oh, there you are, George. Yeah, your connection's kind of.
I never lost you. It looked like
okay.
Like it lost me for a second. Sorry about that, folks.
No, you're a little spotty there, George.
Yeah. Okay, continuing on. There's an after that. Okay. All right, well, doing the best I can. All right, whether we're hailing a cab, ordering food, playing a game, finding a date, listening to music, or shopping for just about anything, there's a good chance we'll be doing it with a smartphone app that didn't exist in 2010. Many of most popular apps are free, but consumers are still expected to spend more than $120 billion in app stores during 2019, according to App Annie, a mobile apps analytics firm.
That's a ton of money.
The endless scroll on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media apps now consumes 34 minutes of every U.S. adult's day. Consumes a lot more of mine than that. Fewer people are sitting on the sofa to watch live TV at set times, and advertisers are following. Mobile ad spending surpassed TV for the first time in 2018 in terms of percentage share of the U.S. market, according to research firm eMarketer. We can also thank the smartphones for Instagram influencers, sextortion, and fake news.
That's the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah, and I never heard of it either.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to know. Mobile shipments of digital cameras, this is pretty incredible too, dropped from their 2010 peak of 121 million to just 19 million units in 2018.
Wow. According
to the Camera and Imaging Products Association. Meantime, the latest phones pack as many as 4 camera lenses and cutting-edge software that makes it easier than ever to get that perfect shot. That front-facing camera might be the busiest. Google reports that its Android devices take 93 million selfies every day. Wow, that's a lot of selfies. And I have to admit, I account for my share of them.
Same here.
So you can see the digital camera shipments graph from 2011, and then it's just dropping. And that 2012 and 13, huge drop.
Mm-hmm.
So, people have been saying for years, smartphones are catching up, right? Oh, which, by the way, Jerome, I've been watching some of your camera comparisons, and I kind of like you break them down more than I do. And
yeah,
you're doing a really nice job there.
Well, thanks, George. I appreciate that.
All right, going down. The satellite tracking technology known as GPS, combined with information from cell towers and Wi-Fi networks, has made the smartphones incredibly powerful tracking devices. Google Maps and its poorer cousins enable even the most directionally impaired to find their way around unfamiliar locales with ease. For the privacy-minded, though, it's a disaster. Phone companies and app makers routinely record the movements of subscribers that sell data to advertisers, a $20 billion a year business. The data is anonymized, but as numerous studies and recent New York Times investigation have revealed, it's often a simple matter to identify who is behind the dot on a map. This goes back to what we were talking about last week, right, Jerome?
Yeah. Yep.
With all those people, you could actually identify where they went to work and where they went home, and you could see it all year long, all over the country. It was incredible. Nearly 50% of companies surveyed by Verizon this year used or plan to soon use smartphone management tools to track their employees. That's a scary thought.
Yeah. Oh my God, no.
You can look it up. The 2010 edition of the Venerable Encyclopedia Britannica, all 32 volumes and 129 pounds of it, turned out to be the last. But untold barroom arguments or dining room debates can now be settled on the spot. Wikipedia is consulted more than 240 million times daily. Wow.
It doesn't surprise me.
Distracting ourselves to death. In 2018, in the United States, 2,628 fatal crashes involved a distracted driver, and of those deadly crashes, about 13% involved mobile phone use, according to.
Well, there goes George again. You guys can still hear me? If you do, let me know. I'll just continue on with his. So about 13% involved mobile phone use, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Forget your wallet. Apple Pay and Google Pay are still afterthoughts for most U.S. consumers, but China may be a harbinger. Alipay and WeChat Pay, China's two big smartphone payment services, have reached a combined adoption rate of over 80% since they were launched around the beginning of the decade, according to a study by Bain. The QR code now peppers storefront windows. Even street-side beggars have adapted, sometimes rejecting cash and asking that payments be made via WeChat Pay or Alipay, which hasn't happened to me yet. Hold on, guys. I'm just making sure that you guys can still see me or hear me. Yeah, no, maybe. Anybody? Oh, I think you're there, Sean. What's up? Yeah, that's it's funny because I really wasn't a big proponent of Apple Pay or Google Pay, but I use it pretty regularly now. There you go, George. What's up?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead with what you're saying. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm good. You want me to continue reading or? George, you there? your connection's so
yes, please.
Okay. All right. Say what? Among the major casualties of the smartphone era is the conventional phone call itself. Ubiquitous messaging apps have helped make video calls, GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce it, emojis, and audio messaging preferred modes of communication. In the UK, for example, the total number of minutes spent on voice calls fell from 254 billion in 2013 to 206 billion in 2018. And the number of text messages dropped from 129 billion to 74 billion over the same period, according to Ofcom. Mobile data usage, meanwhile, jumped almost ninefold between 2013 and 2018. The number of available emojis has nearly tripled to almost 3,000 since 2010. So that's actually crazy because it's funny because
that's the end of that, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the end of that. I was gonna.
All in all.
Oh, go ahead. You there, George?
Yeah, it looks like my connection is really, really bad.
Yeah,
Sorry
it's
about
it's
that.
kind of going in and out. But I was gonna say, George, like,
I did some testing earlier today, and it seemed okay, but it seems like it's not so okay right now.
do you know what kind of upload speed you have?
Meanwhile, let me at least recognize who's in the room. Of course, we've got Six, who was here first. Will showed up next. Everybody's looking for Nigel. Michael West is in here. Miss Lisa's in here. Keystone Tech. Sean Okager is in here. And I'm glad you're all here, but I'm sorry that I'm having so many problems. When I did my test this afternoon, I didn't have any problems whatsoever. But of course, I didn't stay on this long, so maybe that's the whole problem. At least Jerome is back. That's the good thing.
Yeah, I'm here. So I was afraid I was
going to get. But we did get through one story.
There you go.
Thank you.
Let's go with the next one, George.
Okay, is it breaking up again?
I mean, so what's happening, at least what I'm seeing on my end, is it just pauses. It just completely, you either kind of freeze up and then I don't hear from you.
All right, you want to try one more, and if we can't get through it, then I'll.
Yeah, I lost you there again, George. But yeah, let's go through the story. You want me to read through this?
Sorry. And
okay.
Okay. Let's try one more story. You read it, and if we can't get through it without some kind of smoothness, then I'll just have to end the broadcast. All right?
Okay, we'll go through it. Yeah, I think the hard part is like us talking with each other, because sometimes I'm talking and then like I don't know if.
Okay, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me fine?
No, I think we're gone again.
No, that's
all right, folks.
We tried, George. We tried.
Yeah, this is pretty disastrous.
It's okay.
All right. All right. You know what? We're going to have to just end it. And this is all on me because I'm traveling and I thought everything would be fine with my MacBook, but obviously it's not.
George, I was going to say. George,
we're going to have to sign off for this week. Okay. We'll be back next week, I believe, on Mike's channel. I will let you folks know. And Jerome, I humbly apologize for all these problems.
No, don't even worry about it. We tried, and like I always have a good time doing it. Later, guys. It all got disconnected. I'm sure we'll talk to each other soon. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, and I guarantee it'll be better because we'll be back on our regular schedule, and I won't be traveling. Anyway, Jerome, thanks very much, and see all you folks next week. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, and hope everybody has a happy New Year, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.